Who doesn't know the story of Princess Diana, a simple woman who became the protagonist of a fairy tale-like story? After meeting and marrying Prince Charles, her life completely changed. Not only has she become the Princess of Wales, but she also received admiration from the entire world. In fact, it was difficult not to be enchanted by her sweetness and simple elegance. However, when you took a look behind the scenes, you witnessed a demeaning and toxic backstory that was consuming the young woman's vitality. Actually, peeking backstage wasn't even necessary. The newspapers used to publish every single day about her sufferance, revealing now and then new spicy details, such as those concerning the Prince Charles and Camilla affair. Behind this facade made out of nobility and journalism, it wasn't easy to understand what Diana really felt. Her pain was visible to everybody, but it was delivered as gossip rather than as the feeling of someone who, before being a member of the royal family, was a person. Mrs. Spencer. This is exactly the director Pablo Larraín's goal. Through his movie, he aims to show us Diana's dark side, the one she had to live and deal with during her years of marriage. This is the reason why the camera follows the protagonist in an almost obsessive way, giving us her perspective. We see a woman who feels lost, in search of warm feelings that seem impossible to find within the royal palace, which is dark and, as the woman says, always cold. The princess is forced to memorize and repeat the royal traditions every day, and always in the same way. Escape seems impossible. Every time she tries to rebel, the freezing and silent eyes of Prince Charles remind her where she is, and that, as he first says, she must force her body to do things she detests for the good of the nation. Day by painful day, she keeps suffering for a life that does not belong to her. The royal residence seems to be a seemingly beautiful package. However, inside it was as if time had stopped. A house where there is no future, and past and present are the same thing. This is what she says to her sons, William and Harry, the only people, together with the costumist Maggie, who helps her to maintain her lucidity and not sink completely into the abyss of despair. Diana tries to survive with all her strength. However, she can do very little. As time passes, her invisible scars become more and more visible. The princess, in addition to some eating disorders, begins to develop various hallucinations, including the one of Anne Boleyn, the wife of Henry VIII, beheaded on charges of high treason. The similarities seem obvious. Both were required to be someone different, and, consequently, her fate will be the same. In a climax in which her suffering becomes increasingly heavy to tolerate, Diana is faced with a tragic crossroads, to choose between life and death. Sometimes life doesn't look like the most appealing option. It crushes us, makes us feel completely stuck, and increases the feeling that we are destined to bear the suffocating weight of who we are and what we have to deal with. When the past, present, and future are presented as one compact piece where boundaries are undefined, it becomes difficult to lift our heads and turn them back to who we were or forward to who we could or want to be. In that moment, there are no more perspectives, but only the perception of being condemned to a destiny equal to one's present, a life full of pain and suffering. In these cases, the thought of death is almost reassuring. Ending your life is presented as a way, albeit desperate, to achieve that sense of peace that you have been looking for a long time. Yet, Often the lack of energy makes us forget the determination we have shown to ourselves thus far. We become so focused on finding relief that we forget that part of that strength lies in life itself and in the opportunity it gives us every day to learn from the past and build our future. Being a part of this process is what makes us alive. This is exactly what Diana does while facing the crossroads. She is no longer what she once was. She despises what she has become, but the very fact of losing herself and trying to find herself again is what makes her alive. In a place where past and present are the same thing, she has invested all the energy at her disposal to recreate another present, the same energy that will help her take charge of her life and build a different future. In that moment, when she has to choose between life and death, she makes an important decision. She will not be like Anne Boleyn. She will not end up as her king wants her to, but as she will decide for herself. With this newfound light in her heart, she finds the courage to step out of the box of real life, finding an alternative that just before seemed just impossible to take. Asking for divorce, abandoning the royal family, and finally, going back to be who she's always been, Mrs. Spencer. Thank you for listening. My name is Silvia Vitello, and this is Psyche. You can listen to all the episodes on the official website www.psycheofficial.com. For any information, you can send an email to teampsyche@gmail.com.